So shall we move ahead with the practical? So let me open up my data file. Yes. Now what you see here, we have collected data using Likert scale or maybe some other scale. So in the present case, what I have done is that I have collected data on Likert scale 1 to 5, where 1 was representing strongly disagree, 2 was representing disagree, 3 was representing neutral, 4th was agree, and 5th was strongly agree. So in that case, the example that we are taking here into consideration, this D1 D2 D3, like we'll be taking it as an online purchase intention. I am making it as a OPI 1, I'm making it as OPI 2, and then OPI 3. Similarly, the comparison variables we have S3, S4, S5, like I have coded based on my understanding. So what I have done is that मैंने Google form बनाया, and वो Google form मैंने circulate किया अपनी जो respective audience थी, जो भी उनका parameters थे उसके basis पे, and then the Google form में मैंने questionnaire fill किया, then उसको मैंने CSV file में download किया, and then that file has been converted into the Excel file, so that the clean file would be easy for me to understand, and I have coded the items accordingly. So these are nothing. OPI 1 is nothing what it is representing, the list of statement, the one, like I like purchase, or maybe I am intent to purchase things if the things are to be presented to me in this and that manner. So these are the items were taken from the already standardized scales, or maybe some person would have already developed. So items को क्या किया, कोड कर दिया यहाँ पे, और कोड कर दिया, and then I have a data set of 41. So just to understand it, I have taken a data of 40 there. So what I will do is that मैं इसको क्या करूंगा, I have copied it, right? It is very easy for us to do copy, and then I'll paste here. Oh, the variable view that I have now, the data has been entered here. So देखिए आप 40 observations यहाँ पे आ गए हैं. The n is 40. Now we have variables and we need to give a name to it. So हमारे ये जो variables हैं, now we need to present these variables over there. So now I'll be doing for only one thing. It is asking for value. So here we have value. What does it mean? Value is saying that, you see here, these are the values 5, 4, like you see here 3, 1, 2. These are nothing but these are the numbers, and this SPSS is asking their value. So I need to enter here as strongly disagree, then disagree, 3 neutral, 4 agree, and 5th is strongly agree. Similarly, it is asking for a measure. So measure, we have, since the ordinal and nominal, we have collected data on Likert scale. So I will be simply writing it as a scale here, because it is very important for SPSS to understand कि किस पे आपने data collect कर रहा है. We need to compute the variables. Because we have multiple variables, I need to make it as 1, I need to make it V1, V2, V3 as 2, and then 3, and then 4. So let us see how to do it. Going to the transform, compute variable, and statistical, selecting mean, and it will help us to do the analysis accordingly. So I'm doing nothing what OPI 1, selecting OPI item number 2, selecting OPI item number 3, and giving name here as OPI 1, online purchase intention, and then OK. After pressing OK, if you go to back this data file, it will give us the mean score of all these 5 plus 5 plus 4 divided by 3. So we will be having score of 4.67. Okay, so I will be doing it for the next 2 variables. Now you see here, going to the variable view, and you see here OPI comparison and convenience has been converted into the single one. Going to the analyze, and then there is a tab which is called as regression, and going to the sub tab which is called as linear. And purchase intention was our dependent variable, and these two were our independent variables, comparison and convenience. You see here, those who were not able to get it right. So comparison and convenience our independent variable, and online purchase is our dependent variable. This is what I have entered right here. The regression has different assumptions like normality, like multicollinearity, like homogeneity should be there. So you just, by going all those things, I would say that plot ek select kar lete hain to check the assumptions. Then we'll see the other one, which is called as yes, collinearity diagnostics. This is important. This is very important whenever you will perform the regression analysis, you should always present this collinearity diagnosis, and this will be displayed with the help of the variance influence factor and tolerance too. So it has threshold values. It will provide you the results and then talk about it whether it is good to go ahead or not. So pressing OK, and it will give us an output. Now here our as a researcher job starts. Whatever things have been presented right here, for us it is not important to present each and every aspect of this output, but being a researcher we should know that what should be presented and what should not be presented. That is what we need to decide right here. Okay, you see here this SPSS is very intelligent, and the regression output is also very intelligent because it is talking about our dependent variable is OPI. So it will help you to cross verify whether you have entered the dependent and independent variable rightly or not. Dependent variable is OPI, and the variables entered means this is a B, the convenience and comparison. Why it is helpful for us? Because once you have multiple variables, 5 to 6, in that case you will be able to get this thing right. Moving ahead, the model summary. Fine, this is what we have discussed right here. And the model summary, R square, do we know what does it mean, R square? Take you to the Excel sheet. First, हमें ये model देखना होता है, and इसमें से हमें we have to present things in our research paper or maybe in a thesis. So model one talking about R first, which is the which is called as the correlation. And if this is the correlation, regression says जितना ज़्यादा correlation होगा उतना ही ज़्यादा R square होगा. This is what regression has said. Better the correlation, higher or better the R square is. How does it so? Is equals to, I'm keeping this 5 D6, selecting and doing the square of it, and it will present the value of R square. So it will present the value of R square. Let me check it. And okay, it is not giving here because we have A here is equals to this square this. So see, this is almost close, 3.5. It will take it to the figures, 3 figures पे लेंगे, तो it will have a same value. All right, so when regression says जितना ज़्यादा correlation होगा उतना ही ज़्यादा R square हमारा होगा. So that is what it meant. And talking about the adjusted R square that we have already talked in this case, once we have multiple variables introduced, and then we will be having this thing. Going back to the standard error or estimation, it is something like which is still left to predict. This is what we have understood while we talking about the residual or error. All right, this is the one model summary where we will be taking R square or adjusted R square or R we will present. So this R is nothing but is the correlation, and simply you will be taking R square which you will present at the end of your research paper. Now going back to the significance level, whether this model is accurate or not, means accurate or not, whether it is significant or not, we'll be checking with the help of the ANOVA. First we'll see the regression which is called as the sum of squares. अगर आप देखेंगे, I'll take you there, the Excel sheet. Okay, I forgot to tell you one thing before checking this thing. Why we should check first of all this collinearity statistics, because tolerance and VIF जो हमें check करना पड़ेगा, and then we can go ahead. So see, whenever you would work in your context may vary. Your area of research may also vary. So it is not like in my paper where I worked upon technology or AI in HRM and I have presented VIF 3. So in your context, it will be 3 only. So some of the researchers said that the threshold value of variance inflation factor कभी 3 भी हो सकता है, 4 भी हो सकता है, 5 भी हो सकता है, and different papers have mentioned differently. So it is nothing but it talks about the variation जो आती है आपके R square में. So it is expecting that 1.555 variation आ सकती है आपके R square में variance में, right? And if it is more than 10, then it is not accepted. Usually it should be less than 10, and some papers have said it is less than 5, some have said that it is less than 3. So hence in this case it is less than, and we say that the collinearity VIF, we have met this criteria. Now talking about this collinearity tolerance, it also says that it has some sort of value, threshold value, and which is 0.1. And if it is more than 0.1, that means the this assumption has also been met over here, right? So it is okay. And I was about to discuss this ANOVA thing to you, and where we will be talking about certain things, and I would request to pay attention so that we can actually have a different calculation of these values. So look at here, this is sum of square. This is a sum of squares of r, which we can write it as SSR. So SSR we have 8.889. Similarly, we will be having SSE, sum of squares of error. So residual is also called as error. This is what we have discussed. So yes, we can write it as here as uh, is equals to this value right here. It is giving us a okay format cell and then numbers. Now SSE we have is equals to 16, and then this is called as SST, sum square of total, which is around 25.753. All right, so these are the values which regression analysis help us to know and see that whether you can go for further analysis or not. So now, yes, I have already said that this is DF is nothing but this is the degree of freedom, and this degrees of freedom is different in case of regression, is different in case of residual, is different in case of total as well. When we talk about the degrees of freedom, it talks about in case of regression, how many independent variables do you have? These two independent variables, or these two, the degrees of freedom of regression, which is 2, can also be denoted with k. Fine. So we have two independent variables, that is why this 2 will be denoted with the help of the k. And how many number of observations do we have? Total data कितना था हमारे पास? If you see here, it is around 40. First row पे अगर आप देखेंगे तो ये है which the name of the item. So in totality we will be having 40 observations. Fine. Total के case में it says that 40 minus n minus 1 is the degrees of freedom. So n minus 1, which is 40 minus 1, which is 39, this will be denoted with the help of n. Now, coming to the residual, this can be calculated with the help of the n minus k minus 1, and it should come 37. Is 40 minus k, so we are left with 38, and minus 1, which is equals to 37. So this is how we can calculate degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom क्या है? एक वेरिएशन अलाउ करता है सामने वाले के लिए कि आपके पास कितने चांसेस है टू गो अहेड. Suppose there are 10 chairs and we have 10 people with us. And once the first chair is being offered to first person, now the rest of the 9 students are left with the 9 options. Means next वाले के लिए कितनी option बची? 9. Now this mean square can be calculated with the help of, like I'm writing here it as MSR, mean square. It can be calculated with the help of, you just see here, SSR कितना है हमारे पास? 8.89 divided by then K. So K कितना है हमारे पास? It is 2. So divide करेंगे तो it will actually provide us this same value. If you see here, mean square क्या होगा? Now you can write your own definition to it as well. So once the sum of squares of regression is divided by with the k, which is degrees of freedom in context of independent variables, and उसका जो mean square जो है, which is around 4.44. Now MSE, mean square of error. So now earlier we had sum square, now we will be calculating their mean square, calculated with SSC divided by the n minus k minus 1, which is around, which is 37. So you will see that we will be having the same value that has been given here. So when we talk about the ANOVA, we will be having F ratio, and this F statistics will be calculated with the help of the MSR. Now we will have MSR divided by MSE. So it will be around 9.75. Do you know what do we mean by this significance value right here? P value. When we talk about the probability value, this is very important to understand, which is also denoted as a P value. Taking you to this example, like where I will be mentioning comparison has significance relationship, significant purchase intentions. So how much percent I am sure about it? Said that we will be taking around we can be 10 take 95 and 90, and again I said I can say that कि कौन सा लेना चाहिए, it again depends upon the context that where you are studying. 95% के basis पे आपने significance इसका level check करना है. So 95% is nothing what it is the confidence level, and rest of the 5% is your nothing what it is the significance level. Fine. Now, if your results comes out to be 96%, what does it mean? Shall we accept the hypothesis or reject? 96% is the confidence level where the margin of error is around 4%, which is less than 5%. What does it mean? It means the value आपकी जो है 0.05 से कम है. This is what this table is presenting to us. If you would look at here, 0.00. So in this case, you would say that हमारा तो 100% है. This model is 100% fit in this case. So here we should understand the confidence level as well as the significance level. So confidence and significance level both works. If it is greater than 0.05, then hypothesis is rejected. And if it is less than 0.05, and then hypothesis is accepted.